Hello, Pokemon fans, and welcome to the PokéTalk show. I am your host, Zasori. Now, on today's episode is going to be the introduction episode, meaning that I'm going to be talking about myself and why I chose the name Zasori as a handler ID. I'll also be talking about what you can look forward to seeing on my channel. And one other thing is what started me on my Pokemon career and my journey across all 8 generations. And later on in the show, I will be revealing who my favorite Pokemon is and why he is my favorite. After that, lastly, we have the final thoughts and what the Pokemon of the week will be. So let's get started with my first topic. Alright, the first topic is why I chose the name Zasori and a little bit about myself. I've been playing Pokemon since 97, 98. So roughly about 22 years from Generation 1 to Generation 8. My favorite generation was definitely the first generation. That's what started it all for me. And in every game I've played, I've always chosen the name Zasori. For basically any game I play, my handler ID has been Zasori. That comes from back in 2006 when I first started, getting heavily into gaming. I needed a screen name, and at the time I was really into a show called Naruto, and I really liked the Sasori character, and so I decided to use his name, but somebody else had taken the name that starts with an S, so I changed it to a Z and became Zasori, or most people just call me Zas for short. Now, next topic we'll be talking about is what you can look forward to from my channel. Now, this channel is all going to be about discussing Pokemon related topics and materials that have been voted on from my my Twitter followers and my YouTube subscribers. Now, if you would like to submit a suggestion for a topic, you can go onto my Twitter account and either DM me a message or send me a tweet. I'll look it over and I'll see if it is something I am able to talk about. Now, with that being said, there might be some other material that I post on here that is not related to Pokemon. That'll be very rarely. Some other things I'm into is Minecraft and Fire Emblem. I used to play RuneScape, and I'm a retired Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic the Gathering player. Some of my favorite games are some of the ones I just said: Pokemon, Minecraft, the Yu-Gi-Oh game that just came out, and Fire Emblem. Recently, I did get into Pokken Tournament DX for the Nintendo Switch, which, as of currently right now, is my only console I have, or handheld, whichever one you prefer to call it. All right. Now that's over. Let's go on to my third topic, which is what started me in Pokemon. Back in 97, I was walking through a store and I seen a handbook that looked pretty cool. It was actually the original 151 Pokemon handbook that was released by Scholastic, I think. And I thought it looked pretty cool, like I said. So I picked it up and started reading it, and on reading it, I discovered it was the game was going to be set to release in America soon. So I ended up purchasing it for about $6, which is definitely a steal for a book like that. It told me all the moves, what level they evolved, what they were good against, what were they bad against, and it gave me a checklist for if you had a Pokemon game with it. It gave you a checklist for all the Pokemon you had obtained or seen and things like that. Well, shortly after I finished reading it, I showed it to my sister, who then got into Pokemon, and Christmas of that same year, we ended up getting, I got Pokemon Red version, and she ended up getting the Pokemon Special Pikachu edition. So, my first, my cover Pokemon, which was the Charizard, which I guess I kind of knew, but he looked a lot different than what he looked like in the book. And so, when I started the game up, that's the Pokemon I chose with, and he has been my first Pokemon that I have ever had. And So I chose him and journeyed all throughout the Kanto region, collecting all the gym badges and trying to defeat the Elite Four. Now, my first team that I had for the game was start off with Charmander, where I later evolved into Charmeleon, and then I got a Nidoking, or Nidoran male, and then evolved it from Nidorino to the Nidoking. Well, at the time, I didn't really know much about Pokemon evolutions or any information in general. In fact, I remember uh, one time I got stuck in Cerulean City for a day or two, and I couldn't figure it out, and I had to wait a couple days before I could even attempt again because I had ran my batteries out. Yeah, back then it was hard to constantly play a Pokemon game or get anywhere on it because you always had to replace the batteries after so often that they ran out. Now going back to my other team members, Gyarados, he I definitely loved him when I first seen him in the anime show. I knew I just had to capture him. So I ended up before you went to Mount Moon, there's a hiker that was selling one for 500, which everybody I knew that went to my school said Magikarp was a terrible Pokemon. It's not worth it. Well, later on, from reading the Pokemon Handbook, I realized he evolved into one of the strongest Pokemon and realized he evolved into Gyarados from the TV show, so I immediately added him to my team. Now, one of my team members that kind of switched out back and forth was Pidgeot and Raichu. I was kind of iffy on the both of them because they really didn't fit my kind of play style. So those two are definitely switchable here and there, especially with Pidgeot being able to learn fly and Raichu's ability to, there's no special split, so it had a high special attack and high speed, so it was amazing back in Generation 1. Now, one of my other team members, Alex Zam, took a very good liking to him because, like I said, no special split, and he was amazing all throughout the game, being able to counter just about every problem I had with the rest of my team. My final team member was, if I remember correctly, it was a Primate. I think it was Primate. I was always on the fence about Primate. He had a great looking sprite, and it definitely had a good stats in my opinion. And the problem is there wasn't that many good moves for him to learn, and he really didn't learn a great final move, so I had to splash a bunch of different moves on him at the time because in Pokemon Generation 1 you didn't have a lot of choices for TMs, and they were one use TMs, so once you used them they were gone. A couple of bad features about Generation 1: the pack only had 20 item slots. Once they were filled, you couldn't have no more items. And some items you had a storage box that you put items in, which that filled up about 30 items, I think. So you really had to take care of what items you can and can't bring. Now, the fourth topic I have on discussion is my favorite Pokemon and why he's my favorite. My favorite Pokemon is, if you didn't guess it, Charizard. Charizard's been my favorite Pokemon for 22 years. He'll always be my favorite. And when he attained a Mega Evolution, it was amazing. I love the Charizard X and the Charizard Y. When I played Pokemon Showdown, I actually ended up putting Charizard Y as my Mega Evolution Pokemon. And he actually was, he came through for me, and he was great in clutch moments. Now, why is he my favorite? First Pokemon I ever had that I obtained. Love the sprite, love the description of him, how strong he was, and his final evolution, Charizard. What more can you say? Amazing looking Pokemon, and that's my favorite. My final thoughts on Pokemon of the week. My final thoughts. I'm hoping this series really gets good reviews. Any opinions, criticism is most welcome. If you would like for me to discuss a topic, like I said, just send me a message or tweet me on Twitter, or you can leave a comment in the description below. Just any way to get a hold of me that way. And the Pokemon of the week, I would say I'm going to name it as my favorite Pokemon, which is Charizard. Now, like I said, I give you many reasons why Charizard is my favorite Pokemon, and that's one I choose for the Pokemon of the week. Another video will come in a few days, maybe next week. Right now it's kind of an iffy schedule. I just really have to find time to make videos and stuff when my kid's asleep. That way he's not making a bunch of noise and interfering with the sound. Um, if you'd like I said, if you'd like me to discuss any topics, any questions, or any kind of discussions, feel free to send me any kind of message or subscribe and comment below. With that, people, that'll end the first episode and the introduction for PokéTalk Season 1, Episode 1. Stay tuned for more. Thank you.